Oh yeah. Solutionaries, we ready to tap in? Welcome, welcome, welcome. Let's get that light and everything right. Welcome to the show, everybody. Come in. Y'all know the routine. Let me know where y'all from. Let me know what platform you watching on. All of the goodies. We're gonna talk about a few things tonight, as we do. Week is coming to a close. The work week, what some people call the work week. Not if you're a solutionary though. Your weekend we work too, as you should. I had a conversation not long ago about this concept of work and all that other good shit and how people fight against it. Whole nother conversation. But anyway, guys, welcome to the Maj 2 Ray Show. I want everybody to tap in, get comfortable. We're going to have a conversation about this Elon Musk conversation, talking about Social Security being a huge Ponzi scheme. I'm more inclined to lean and agree with that, but it's some pushback I got to give. So we're going to tap into that, guys. But first, y'all know the routine, man. Why we got to do this every time? When y'all pull up to the Maj 2 Ray Show, what's up, Rob? Rob got it. Put some comments in the joint, man. Put some comments in the section. Let me know what's going on. What city you from? What's happening in your city? What platform you watching for? Communicate. That's what we need. Media Maniac Network, what's up? Good evening. YouTube from Syracuse, New York. And then we start to get an actual community of people. Because I saw some people in the space I was in earlier today. And they were both in Compton and never met each other before. Didn't even know each other's existence. And I thought it was really dope that they were actually able to link from that space. So when you start naming who you are, where you from, right? You'd be surprised how many people are in the same spaces. We got Paul Smith from Virginia. What's up? Dude, the Cali Kremlin behind the lines. I'm assuming the commie formula. All right. But we got to make sure that we always build a community. 66 folks in. 2 minutes in. We got 66 folks watching. I'm a run this joint like it's 66,000. We're going to run it like it's 666, or 66,000. Don't matter. Sidewalk Talk, Buffalo, New York. Last time I was in Buffalo, I made a wrong turn, ended up in Canada. Got some guns took from me. Interesting story. Guys, share the space all over the place. You guys know that we try to get 10 folks to give $20 in Super Chat. We get $200 per show. That's 5 times a week. It's $1,000 that goes towards our work. Our work is firearms safety, conflict resolution, community building, all of the stuff that happens at the Solutionary Center and abroad around the country. And you guys' support does that. So if you get some value from the show, subscribe, share the space all over the place. Donate to the word, givesend.com/solutionary. All right. TX Clutch. So I'm assuming that's Texas Clutch 24. Says, brother, I've been paying attention to you since stationed at JB MDL in 2018, retired in 2021. Interesting time. Thank you, my brother. I appreciate you for tapping in, Texas Clutch 24. I'm saying Texas. It might just be TX, but let me know in the comments. April Smith is over in Wayne County, Ohio. Funny Man Kelvin, Connecticut. Like Connecticut. Love it a lot. Love it a lot. Want to make sure you all are sharing the space, and everybody hit the like button. Bang the like button, no matter what platform you're watching it on. If you're watching this on X, I definitely want you to repost the joint. Repost the space all over the place. Peely, what's up? Philly. All right, guys. We are going to talk about Bookworm. What's up? We are going to talk about what Elon Musk said as it relates to Social Security. I personally agree. I can see the merits of both sides. So we're going to go over both angles. If you guys got any interesting takes, any interesting perspective on it, throw it in the comment section. Throw me some articles, and I'll pull them up. Okay? But we're going to talk about it. Let's start by playing what exactly Elon said. Let's get to that. That part's very important, okay? here real quick. Boom. Let me make. Hold on, y'all. Y'all ride with me a little bit. There we go. Texas Clutch says it absolutely is Texas, sir. I retired in my Mrs. hometown in Texas, but we're still all American. Love it. Keimer Shadow, what's up? All right, so guys, let's jump to it. We're gonna read this. Let Elon say his thing, and I wanna tell y'all what I agree with and what I disagree with on this. All right.
Well, I mean, the government's one big pyramid scheme, if you ask me.
Yeah, well, you can tell me better than anybody.
Social Security is the biggest Ponzi scheme of all time.
Right, explain that.
Oh, so well, people pay into Social Security, and the money goes out of Social Security immediately. But the obligation for Social Security is your entire retirement career. So you're paying with you're paying like if you look at the future obligations of Social Security, it far exceeds the tax revenue. Far. Have you ever looked at the debt clock?
Yes.
Okay. There's our present day debt, but then there's our future obligations. So when you look at the future obligations of Social Security, the actual national debt is like double what people think it is because of the future obligations. So basically, people are living way longer than expected, and there are fewer babies being born. So you have more people who are retired and get that live for a long time and get retirement payments. So the future obligations. So however bad the financial situation is right now for the federal government, it will be much worse in the future.
Y'all tell me what y'all think. Because I know y'all about to jump in there and say, Maj, you just don't like the government. Maj, you whatever they're going to say. But you might say something that's correct. Put it in the comment section. I want to hear your perspective. Okay? Nah, Rob, that's true. I think the same thing about Elon. Rob said, respect to Elon, but man, he be talking like he chopped and screwed. He do. He sound like he had the best purple ecstasy ever in the year. He be all over the place. But I agree, guys. I agree because what he's in essence saying is this. And again, guys, tell me in the comment section if you agree. Also, guys, new folks that just tapped in. No matter what I'm talking about, comment, say it right in the chat. Yo, Maj, this is such and such. I'm from Philly. I'm from Jersey. I'm from whatever. I want to hear where everybody's from. If you watch the show, Friday is fundraising Friday, follow back Friday. If you watch the show on whatever platform, okay, whatever platform you watch it on, especially like X, quote post it on Fridays. I can follow you back. Follow me and quote post the show. Yo, y'all tap into the Maj Toure show. It's follow back Friday. Everybody that does that, I want to try to follow all of you. This social media thing is about being social. Okay, it's not about like pretending like we Hollywood on one side of the camera and not. It's just whack. Them days for that is corny. It's done. It's lame. It's been lame. It's never gonna happen on my channels at all. Okay. Let's see what we got here. Valerie Hayter says, stop funding Social Security through paying into the government. Take money out of the paycheck in an account that belongs to the person paying into Social Security, but can't be accessed until, say, 65, like a trust. Cool. But can't be accessed by who? Can't be accessed by the person or by the government. Because the people ain't tapping into this shit. It's the government. They funding wars and all that other shit. Scrap and Shell from RVA. I'm assuming that's Richmond, VA. Valerie Hayter says, put that money taken from paycheck into an account. Keimer Shadow says, I think it's hilarious when you do the third person voice. It makes me think of Uncle Ruckus. It's 100% is. Because that's how people be. Oh, mind you, da-da-da. You know what I mean? Syracuse man, hello from Lafayette, New York. Okay, Valerie says, by the person, not by the government. And that's my concern. All right, so what, in essence, what Elon is saying here is this. The money goes into Social Security. The government plays around with the money, okay? When you call it a Ponzi scheme, for those that are not aware, A Ponzi scheme is actually named after one of the dude that started the concept. His last name was Ponzi. He was an Italian dude. Somebody Google his name. I forget his first name, and I don't want to butcher it. His last name was Ponzi, and that scheme initiated with him. Okay. In the finance world, it's also called a feeder fund. That's what Bernie Madoff went to jail for. Okay. That's what Bankman-Fried just went to jail for. Okay. Saying this to say, you're welcome, Valerie. Saying this to say, these things 1000% exist. But when government does it, they want to defend like it's not a Ponzi scheme. It's not a feeder fund. Notice that he said the amount of people are living longer than when the Social Security was created. Charles Ponzi, that's who it was. What's his Italian name? What's Italian for Charles? Charlissimo. Is that what it is? Is that racist? Am I allowed to? Is it? Oh wait, X is supposed to like not be. It's supposed to be free speech, so I can't get canceled. Nonetheless, Charles Ponzi. Okay, that concept 1000% exists. But listen to what Elon said here. Born Carlo Pietro Giovanni Guglielmo is the one that I thought, right? Tebaldo Ponzi. Okay, that's the person that made the Ponzi scheme. I just want y'all to be aware. So when y'all hear that, when you tap into the Maj 2 ratio, the goal is to make sure y'all leave with some information, some talking points, perspective from different angles, and some new information. Oh, Brick Squared said Carlos. I'm assuming Carlos too. He started that scheme. Okay, but that's not what I knew his name as. It was like Guillermo or some shit. Anyway, there's a key point in what, and we're going to play it again because it's only like a minute and some change, right? There's a key point in what Elon said here that is the key that most government officials are going to try to gloss over. Elon, in essence, said, yo, there are people are living longer than anticipated, which is a great thing. I want people to live to 200, 300 years old. But when Social Security was started, they under an old model. Okay. And since they under that old model, people are living older. So like your golden years, this motherfuckers that look that's 65, 70, like I'm 65, right? I'm a senior citizen. There's people living that long and they look great. So when the thing was structured or created, you didn't expect it. It was world wars. It was this, da, right? So now not only are people living longer, but there's less babies being born because the dollar and people are not as happy and the dollar has been devalued tremendously. Your dollar has lost 90%. I'm not bullshitting y'all, okay? Your United States dollar has lost 90% of its value since the Federal Reserve was created. I want you guys to understand that. 90% of the dollar's spending power has been eroded since the Federal Reserve was created in 1913. So 1913 to 2013 is 100 years. In 100 years, right? 110 now at this point, 23, give or take. Your United States dollar, even though it's the world's reserve currency, has lost 90% of its spending power. So when that happens, people are not happy. Things cost more. People are living beyond their means. All of this type of shit. And when that happens, people have less babies. Babies cost money. If you ain't got land to grow food, you don't have no skills, you can't make a car, fix a car, Your greed level say you got to have 5 cars. All of these different things happen. Right? And now you still paying into Social Security, but the government been pulling out that joint like it's a checking account. The reason why he's calling it, in my opinion, and if you guys give me difference of opinion, put it in the comment section. The reason why he's calling it a Ponzi scheme is because it's like a feeder fund. You all paid into this thinking that at 65 I'm gonna cash out because like Valerie was saying, like it's low key like a checking account. If for 30, 40 years I've worked at this job and I'm Kobe. I never got traded. I never went to a different job. And that whole time I was putting money away and the government wasn't taking it. I should have a nice nest egg, almost like a retirement fund. But it's not a retirement fund. It's not. The government has been flipping. You got people buying T-bonds when the money's going to mature off of those dollars that you put into it. And if the dollar's weaker, it doesn't make sense for that person to buy government bonds anymore. Does that make sense? I know we didn't expect to come into the class tonight to talk about finances, right? But this is a part of it. So the reason why it's a Ponzi scheme is because everybody's paying into it as if it's going to be right there. It's not. It's almost like if you got a 401k and the company go, bankrupt, you might get something at the end, but after all of the creditors and all that other shit first. Okay? That's what I'm saying to you. So the Ponzi scheme is people are living longer. They've been taking the money out and babies ain't being born. And the amount of debt that we're already in that has to be paid back to the federal bank, who is working mess with inflation to weaken the dollar, to keep the interest rates up, who determines the interest rates. All of that turns into more actual debt that the government actually has, i.e. a Ponzi scheme. Let's play it again and let's listen to it.
I mean, the government's one big pyramid scheme, if you ask me.
Yeah, well, you can tell me better than anybody.
Social Security is the biggest Ponzi scheme of all time.
Right, explain that.
Oh, so, well, people pay into Social Security, and the money goes out of Social Security immediately, but the obligation for Social Security is your entire retirement career. So you're paying with you're paying like if you look at the future obligations of Social Security, it far exceeds the tax revenue. Far. Have you ever looked at the debt clock?
Yes.
Okay. There's our present day debt, but then there's our future obligations. So when you look at the future obligations of Social Security, the actual national debt is like double what people think it is because of the future obligations. So basically, people are living way longer than expected, and there are fewer babies being born. So you have more people who are retired and that live for a long time and get retirement payments. So the future obligations. So however bad the financial situation is right now for the federal government, it will be much worse in the future.
That is 1,000% a Ponzi scheme. And maybe it wasn't initially started to be a Ponzi scheme. Maybe when they first started, it was like, yo, we're going to do this thing, right? Definitely it's turned into a Ponzi scheme. Let's read it. In the 1920s, Ponzi promised investors a 50% return within a few months for what he claimed was an investment in international mail coupons. Ponzi used funds from new investors to pay fake returns to early investors. That's now known as a feeder fund. A feeder fund. You have to feed new funds into the thing to pay back a small percentage. So if somebody, like, okay, I used to do this, but I would do it legitimately because the product that I sold would quadruple the money, right? So let's say if I said, you give me $200 and I'm going to give you $400. What you don't know is you give me $200. I'm going to buy DVDs and CDs, which cost me $1 a piece, and I could $5 a piece. So if I buy $200 worth of that, 200 DVDs at $5 a piece is $1,000. I go grind, make $1,000 off of selling those, or I hurry up and sell $400 worth and give you your $400 back because I am the bank now based on my own work. That's something that I literally used to do. Yo, give me 200. Right at the beginning of the month, I would have like people, giving me whatever their number was. If let's say, if for math's sake, if 5 people give me $200, that's $1,000. That 1,000 DVDs at $5 a piece is $5,000. I give them their money back. I take the profit off of my labor. But that's based on me actually having a product and actually selling it with a number that's inexpensive enough that the market could bear. A DVD for back in the day, way back there, used to be $10. But then they became $5. So even at $5 a piece, even if I give a few 3 for 10s, the profit margins is still quadruple. So I can take that month or two, that week or two, and make that $5,000 and give my initial investors double their profit. Okay? So that's what I did in that sense. When there's no product to be sold, and you're just taking the $1,000 from the 5 people, and you just starting wars and shit and no return unless it's further conquest, right? That's what treasury bonds and bonds are. I'm gonna give you, you give me $1,000 for this bond. It bonds you to me. This is the rate that we lock this in at, number. And then when that bond matures, you show up and be like, give me that money, right? So if I gave you $1,000, when that bond matures, let's, for math's sake, let's say I owe you $1,500. I got to give you $1,500. But if I do that with a whole bunch of people, and those investors over time start to go, I'm not doing that no more because I don't even see where you're going to get my $500 in profit, let alone my principal. Okay. That's what happens with, that's what's happening with Social Security. There's no product. Well, there is a product. The product is humans. That's where fucking Social Security cards, birth certificates, all of that type of shit. If y'all want to go into like all of the maritime law and the fucking like getting your Social Security back, making yourself, getting your debt back, that's a whole different conversation, but that exists. My point is they're anticipating we'll have more slaves over time, but new babies are not being born and people are living longer. But the people that are there, you guys have to pay out this Social Security benefit to the people that paid in. And if you don't, then the system collapses unless you say, let's just print more money to pay people out. But ironically, by printing up more money from the Federal Reserve that they loan to you at an interest, you get more debt. Tell me if this is making sense, y'all. Tell me if this is making sense to y'all. Bookworm says, oh, you nerding out tonight. 100%. You get what I'm saying? All I'm saying to y'all is this is why he's calling it a Ponzi scheme. What's up, IC? This is why it's called the Ponzi scheme. You're saying something is here. It's not there anymore. But we have become so used to this that when someone calls it the Ponzi scheme, they get offended. People get offended by this topic because they paid into and put their faith into it. I can see how it may be hard to hear, 100%. But we've also done it so much. The entire financial system, the global banking system, is based on a Ponzi scheme. Fractional reserve banking is a Ponzi scheme. Now, before I get into that, y'all don't let me forget. We're going to go back into that. But I want y'all to understand something real quick. Okay? I want y'all to understand this. When somebody says this type of shit, you could be the one so-called the richest, because Elon's not the richest dude in the world. It's a fucking Saudi that sold oil or some shit. Like, it's just not, right? But he's on paper or for television, he's the richest dude in the world. Listen to me. Even if the richest person in the world says it, it's like, I'm smart. We do Starlink. Sidebar, y'all. I got Starlink today. It came in the mail. I'm going to give y'all a whole video breakdown on that shit. I'm not on the Starlink shit right now, but anyway, he's a smart dude. He says it's a Ponzi scheme. Now, some people don't know what it means. They don't like the word because they like, well, what about my pension? What about my da-da-da-da-da-da-da, right? Okay, cool. It's true. And one of the most surefire ways to see if when a rich person that, because, you know, if I say it, no one has to listen to me. They don't know that I've generated millions of dollars. They don't know that, right? And even if it's millions of dollars, it's not hundreds of millions. It's not tens of millions. It's not billions, right? So they don't, and I'm a high school dropout. So they don't have to, they're not going to listen to me, even though I'm telling them 1000% what's accurate. But you should listen to somebody that's made a whole boatload of money in resources and world change. And I think Elon is that. I don't fuck with him on the AI shit. I don't fuck with him on the brain chip thing. I just don't. I don't. I think he's a good marketer. I think he has good creative genius. I know that he knows how to manage people. So I'm not knocking that. But he's got some money, okay? One of the surefire ways to see that someone that would fit the criteria of this, you should listen to this person. One of the surefire ways of, even when somebody fits that criteria and they say something like this, to know that it's true is see where they get pushback from. See how fast the government show up to try to be like, don't listen to him. It's the same government that's spending your damn Social Security money. Yours. I don't pay into the shit. Right? But that's my point. They gonna lie and say, let's fact check Elon Musk. And y'all tell me what y'all think about this one right here. Let's watch this video, a minute 40 seconds.
Elon Musk is working, of course, with President Donald Trump to find waste in federal government agencies, and that includes the Social Security Administration, which Musk says was set up to defraud taxpayers. Paul Spade checks that claim for PolitiFact.
Is Social Security just a Ponzi scheme? Well, that's what Elon Musk said the other day during an interview with podcaster Joe Rogan. Take a look.
Like, you could run a real pyramid scheme.
Well, I mean, the government's one big pyramid scheme, if you ask me.
Yeah, well, you can tell me better than anybody.
Social Security is the biggest Ponzi scheme of all time.
Is that right? Well, let's compare the two things. A Ponzi scheme, named after this guy, Charles Ponzi, is where someone promises that people will get big returns if they invest in a company. Then they take the money from those newest investors and give it to the early investors. In other words, the schemer is not really making money. He's just taking money from one group and giving it to another. Social Security does take money from one group and give it to another. It's a retirement program funded.
That man just said a Ponzi scheme is when you take money. He broke down different types of whatever and then said, well, Social Security does take money from one group of people and give it to another. Cyclops, what up, bro?
By taxes from people who are currently in the workforce. But that does not make it a Ponzi scheme. Nearly every developed nation in the world has a system like this. The program itself is not fraudulent. The operators, they don't take a cut. And unlike a Ponzi scheme, the end goal of Social Security is not necessarily to build wealth. It's just to stay solvent and provide a reliable safety net for people when they retire. The program can also adjust its funding streams if it ever needs to. All of these reasons are why the Truth Meter rates Musk's claim false. Now you may wonder, why do people say Social Security is in trouble? Well, there's an imbalance between the number of people retiring and the number of people in the workforce. Read more about it at WREL.com.
When they start capping like that, y'all, hear me. Hear me when I say you're supposed to get something for what you give. That's what's supposed to happen. So he like, oh, main man is just saying you're supposed to get some shit for the thing that you whoop-de-whoop-whoop-whoop. And yeah, you are. You are supposed to get something for it. It's supposed to be some sort of it's a social security. You pay, it's almost like a long-term 401k with the government. Y'all flip some of my money, put some to the side for me in the future. Okay? When somebody like Elon Musk says things like that, he's got fuck you money at this point. He doesn't need anybody to, like, you know, give him money. So he's at the point where he can just tell the truth. When he says it, he's like, it's the government's a Ponzi scheme. But fucking Social Security is the biggest Ponzi scheme too. Then when they rush to be like, well, it's not a Ponzi scheme, but it kind of is, but it's different. Same, but different. Different, but same. Then you know it's cat, because they rush to go, well, no, that's not. Do you know why? Because they don't want people to not have faith in the system, or i.e. a run on the banks. So I'll give you a perfect example of why I said earlier, the banking industry is a Ponzi scheme. Commercial banking is 1,000% a Ponzi scheme. For example, you show up to the bank, and this used to happen to me all the time. I show up, one grab, quick $9 grand out, little whatever. They can't give it to me. So in any other world, if y'all said, yo, Maj, I'm going to give you $10,000. Let's $10,000, Maj. I want you to hold it in your safe. I know you got guns. I know you about that action. Just hold on to my $10,000. And I go, okay. Give me $50 a month to do it. I'll protect your money for $50 a month. And you go, okay, I might be back in 3 months for all of my money. And I'll go, okay, cool. We write out a ledger. Back in the day, there used to be bank books. You write out a ledger, and I go, cool, $50 a month. In 3 months, your thing should decrease by $150. Month 2.5, you show up and be like, yo, Maj, give me $4,000. I need to make a move. And I go, I can't. And you say, why? I told you I'm gonna give you $50 a month. It's only been 2 months. You should collect your $100. That means there should be $9,950, right? Or whatever the math is, right? Yeah, or 800, whatever the number is. Yes, it should be. But I took your money and I invested it in the street. I did other stuff outside. That is a Ponzi scheme. The answer is now we have a ledger. You proved and signed up something saying that Maj is going to hold my money. I didn't hold your money. I then, in conjunction with the government, the government says, yo, Maj, you got $10,000 in there? You could make loans on it and charge people interest up to $100,000. And if all of those people default, we're just going to print up more money and give it to you. It's called fractional reserve banking. So the money that y'all gave me, the $10,000, I don't have it. And I say, best I can do, I can give you $3,000. I got everybody else's money I'm playing with, but we got about 15,000 around, but I got to keep enough around. Even though I got $200,000 worth of people money, I can only give you 3,000 of your remaining $10,000 to you when you're asking me for 4. That is a fucking Ponzi scheme. What that dude said in that video, matter of fact, let me go back to it real quick because it was a very key point that he made up. He said, it's everywhere. Everybody said it's out in the open. It's transparent. Let's look at it. He says, Social Security is not fraudulent. Social Security's operators do not take a cut. The reason why they don't take a cut is because they're getting the different money printed out from other tax dollars. Okay? Social Security is operated in the open. Not really, but I get what he means. Social Security has built-in oversight. No, it doesn't. It doesn't. Because if that was the case, people wouldn't be struggling with Social Security and it wouldn't be a Ponzi scheme. Social Security offers realistic returns. That's not true. What is a realistic return? I think anything less than 10% is a realistic return. If I give you $1,000 and you say, cool, in a year, I'm going to give you $1,100. That's kind of all right, but not really. So anything other than, that's not a realistic return. So that means, what do you mean? The realistic returns don't even outpace, what's it called? Inflation. It does not outpace inflation over the length of somebody that has been paying into Social Security. The return that you get at the end, if it's even there, does not outpace or make adjustments for inflation. It does not. Okay? 6, Social Security is able to adjust its funding or benefit streams if financially stressed. That means they're going to print out more money. But listen to what he said about it being out in the open and everywhere. Let's play. Let me play this real quick. Matter of fact, let's play it again. Let me speed up a bit. Man, did I hit mute?
Like, you could run a real pyramid scheme.
Well, I mean, the government's one big pyramid scheme, if you ask me.
Yeah, well, you can tell me better than anybody.
Social Security is the biggest Ponzi scheme of all time.
Is that right? Well, let's compare the two things. A Ponzi scheme.
I'm gonna pause on these on the
Charles
points that I
Ponzi,
want y'all to
is
really
where someone promises that people will get big returns if they invest in a company. Then they take the money from those newest investors and give it to the early investors. In other words, the schemer is not really making money. He's just taking money from one group and giving it to another. Social Security does take money from one group and give it to another. It's a retirement program funded by taxes from people who are currently in the workforce. But that does not make it a Ponzi scheme. Nearly every developed nation in the world has a system like this. The program itself.
Nearly every developed nation in the world has a system like this. Nearly every developed nation in the world has a fucking IMF bank, a World Bank. It is a Federal Reserve bullshit. Wax Dot says it's not a Ponzi scheme. Let us know how, bro. Let us know how. I get it. I get it. I get it. It's not a Ponzi scheme because you're not paying people over here that you got from there. Yes, the fuck you are. You do. You pay into it. It's not an account with your name and social security number on it that you can tap into and show, hey, oh, so far you've paid in $100,000 over this last however many years. We spent 28 on this, and we owe you. We got you with an IOU, but we spent 28, and here's what we put it. That's not what happens. You pay in, or you even pay in. They take it. They take it. They do a bunch of other shit with it, like he just said. You get a reasonable return. Whose definition of reasonable is it? And then they be like, nah, it's cool. Everybody do this. It's not true. It's not safe. It's not. Let's read some of these. Let's look. Let's read. Let's read. Let's get the likes up too, y'all. Who's this? Let's go. Let me look. Mike Trenton says, that's wild. I needed 4K, $4,000 once. I went to take it out in the bank. They told me they didn't have it on them and that I should have called them the day before. Let me tell you why they say that. They do have it there. But each commercial bank has a certain amount of money in cash, right? The reason why they say call before is because they get their money from the local Fed, the local Federal Reserve Bank. Commercial banks get money. You call before and they say, look, we got somebody tomorrow and they're going to need such as the bank, the commercial bank. They call the real bank, the Federal Reserve Bank that they beholden to, and they say, we need cash. They call to get cash. And if you tell them Thursday I'm gonna be there, I got this much in my account, but I'm going on a trip, I'm going to Vegas. I need 30 grand. They call and order money. And then they bring it there, and that's so that rest of their bank can do transactions. Commercial banks, because it's fractional reserve banking, commercial banks make money off of your fees and your overdraft fees, right? So this simply checking account is $5 a month. That's how they get money. And the $35 they charge you every time you bounce your fucking check. Okay? That's it. That is a fucking Ponzi scheme. I gave you money. You gave it to other people without my fucking consent. This isn't, but because it's so, every modern country in the world has it, we're so used to being fucked over and not principled and not honest about what this actually is. When Charles Ponzi or Sam Bankman-Fried, or Bernie Madoff does it, it's illegal. But when they do it, it's okay. The printing of money that is not backed by anything, like a central bank does, is called counterfeiting. It's not backed by anything. It's just ideas. Okay? That's why it's not America. It's not called currency on it. It's not. It doesn't say Federal Reserve. That says Federal Reserve note. It doesn't say this amount of whatever this bread is available to the person on hand if they show up down at the what's name and grab the what's name from it. That's not what it say no more. I was gonna see if I had a silver certificate dollar on me, but I don't. But anyway, it's a Ponzi scheme. Kaiwan said he's a fucking liar. Okay. Bookworm says that doesn't sound insane. A bank doesn't have 4K. Right. It doesn't. You get a taxed version of what you invested in Social Security. Big Rob says they didn't have a 4K because of the way their checking and savings is set up. That's cat. So the money you receive on Social Security is taxed twice, which in turn removes the representation of the taxation. Okay? Let's go all the way down. Also, April says, also, most of those developed nations they're talking about have massively less population. Guys, it's cat. If the richest dude in the world is saying it, and obviously, to Rob's point, he sounded like he chopped and screwed. He always talked weird. right? But he's telling the truth about that. And if the media, I bet you, this is just one article, one video, but I bet you, and we're going to play another one shortly. I bet you, if I went across all of these different platforms, news platforms, I bet you I could find 5 people saying the same exact thing that that dude just said about, it's not a Ponzi scheme. I mean, it is, but it's not, because it's okay. Paul Smith, what up with the $20 super chat? Appreciate you, bro. He says, one issue with Social Security is that people quit putting away their own retirement funds, including companies who used to have pensions. People are forced through taxation to be dependent on government and vote talk. When you come to the Maj 2 ratio with all of these liberty-minded people that's talking about all of that legitimate perspective, you gonna leave here, you gonna fuck around and you start watching the Maj 2 ratio for 2 weeks straight, Monday through Friday, 8 p.m. Eastern. You gonna leave this joint libertarian as hell. You gonna leave this joint talking about Austrian economics, talking about not trusting the government, talking about building your community. It's inevitable. There's too many solutionaries dropping gems like that all day. Okay? That's what I'm saying. All right, so look at what Waxstat says. This is a valid argument. A lot of people have this argument. The only reason they want to get rid of Social Security is so they can privatize and have private bankers profit from the money. My brother, the private bankers are already the bank. The Federal Reserve Bank is not in any way associated with the federal government. It is not a public banking system. It's private. I'm agreeing with you on the fallout being the collapse of America. I'm agreeing with you on the economic infrastructure being on life support since like before 2008 subprime mortgage crisis. I'm not disagreeing with you. I'm telling you that Social Security was always designed as a scheme. Always. And this argument that they're going to switch out public banks for private banks, the entire banking institution on the majority tip in America, I'm not talking about private banks that do private lending and hard money lenders. If they got if they backed by the FDIC, that means they're a federal bank. They're a Federal Reserve Bank, a commercial bank. That means they get their money from the Federal Reserve. The Federal Reserve prints up, creates, generates, controls interest rates, and they print that money up to the United States government at an interest. So when Thomas Massey creates a debt clock that you could wear on your shirt and it's going up 36, 37, 38 trillion dollars, that's who we owe the money to. The Federal Reserve Bank, which is private banking cartels. This is not deep knowledge. So when you say it's not a Ponzi scheme, when you tie all of those things in, when the scheme is the United States government goes, make them pay in this Social Security, make them pay into X, Y, and Z, right? Make them pay into these things. Okay, they paying into it. You paying into it, so you'll always be paying into it, so the government can pay some of the debt back that they got to the private banking cartel. This is Game of Thrones. They the Iron Bank. They the Iron Bank. And all of the schemery and skullduggery that the United States government does to impact on its citizens is the exact opposite of what the founding fathers said. Thomas Jefferson was like, bro, we're not doing a fucking centralized bank. Are you kidding me? No. No. What are you doing? We're not doing that. Hamilton, hell no. Hell no. We're not doing that. They off him, throw him on $1 like he wasn't the, you know what I mean? Rob says, so wait, so nobody has a Federal Reserve debit card? Listen, y'all, the scheme runs several ways. But before we go to that, real quick, guys, get the likes up. 377 of you watching, whatever platform you're on. If you just tapped in not long ago, if you came in a little bit late, introduce yourself in the comment section. Let us know where you're from. You'd be surprised how many people in the same neck of the woods and you can start networking. That's the power of social media. That's the power of these streams. The power of these shows. One of the powers. Okay. Also, guys, support the work. GiveSingo.com/solutionary if you're getting some value from this. As well as smash the hell out of that like button. Smash the hell out the like button. On YouTube, it's 50 people watching. Let's get the likes up. Smash the hell out the like button. Smash, 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 smash. It's 379 of y'all. I'm gonna ask guys. We got 67 more $100 donors we need, and we got 2 benchmarks left. 67 $100 donors, and the next benchmark we done fundraising. So guys, givesendgo.com/solutionary. If you're getting some value, it's Friday. Some of y'all got paid. Support our work. Help us buy our community center that we've been working out of for the last 3 years. We do this based off of voluntary donations because I don't think it's right to even apply for government funds. That's not our money. I stand on that principle. If y'all want us to win, y'all gonna help us win. It might be tough, but it's principle. Okay? We don't get government grants. That's not our money. That's the government, some bureaucrat deciding we took a bunch of people's money. We're going to give my some of that money. What if you anti-gun and don't want me to have your money? I shouldn't have your money. So in order for us to stay principled, guys, please givesendgo.com/solutionary. Support the actual work. Now we're going to play this with a little clip and we're going to get ready to wrap up here shortly, but we're going to play this clip. Remember I told y'all we played what Elon said, right? We played Main Man on the news station talk about it's not really a Ponzi scheme, but it's kind of a Ponzi scheme, right? We played that. Now, let's listen to this. So another minute and 32 seconds.
And Elon Musk, we have news for him. Social Security is not a Ponzi scheme. It's a promise. It's a promise the American people have made, and someone needs to remind the President of the United States about that. Well, first they shut down the phone lines. There are a lot of Americans, millions of Americans, who depend on using the phone to connect with the Social Security
Look who we up there with.
Administration for questions. Well, they say they don't have to use the phones. They can go to the regional offices now. Well, they're closing the regional offices all over the country, 47 slated for closure by my count. Okay, so now you go to the regional offices. Well, who's going to be at the regional offices? Because they're talking about cutting 7,000 Social Security employees, 47% of the workforce. As I said, it's already at a 50-year low, the Social Security Administration workforce. So that's what they're doing. So why do you do this? You do it to undermine people's confidence and faith in Social Security so you can go right at taking down that very important promise. Because when they say Ponzi scheme, that's what they're trying to do. When we know it's a promise. And we're here to blow the whistle on it and here to say that the nominee that they've put forward for the Social Security Administration is unfit to protect the promise of Social Security for the American people.
Senate Democrats, don't fuck with our bread. Listen to me, y'all. Listen to me. The government is a Ponzi scheme. The government is a mixture between a Ponzi scheme and a protection racket. That means if you pay, we won't fucking hurt you. And if you pay, you're fine. It is a protection racket. Okay? Do not be emotionally attached to it because you got tricked for a little bit, right? Just go, wait a minute. So how much do I get? If I told y'all insurance is kind of the same scheme. If I pay $500 a month for insurance, I'm just saying a weird ass number. In 10 months, that's $5,000. Okay? Somebody dings my window and it costs $1,000 to get it fixed. Weird number, right? $1,000. And they say, okay, we're going to fix it for you. Just pay your deductible. Why the fuck do I have a deductible? I gave y'all $5,000. Just take it out of the $5,000 that I already paid y'all. What are we doing? And they go, no. You got to give us $500 with a deductible. The logic of that goes, that's stupid. And now when government merges with that and says you have to have insurance, car insurance, you have to. You have to. Because the insurance companies generate a lot of money, and the insurance companies have worked with the state to say it's mandatory. And when you look at that logically, you go, this doesn't make sense. But somehow a politician like that will get on television and say, Don't listen to the richest man in the world telling you about, yo, this is not here and it's not real. It's a Ponzi scheme. Don't believe that. Believe us. Look at this video. Look at Schumer. Look at Schumer behind him. Making sure, yo, you make sure you say the fucking talking points correct, young bull. That's what that is. Do not believe these missionaries. Now, action item list. As we have this discussion tonight, here's what's important. It is important for us to recognize, yes, government and Social Security, all of that shit is 1,000% a Ponzi scheme. And most of us in this chat know this. We know that. No doubt about it. We know that. What do? You start investing your money. You start trading people in Bitcoin. Bitcoin. I didn't say any of those other coins and tokens and all that other shit. No, I'm not talking about central bank digital currencies. I'm talking about Bitcoin, and not just as a store of wealth. You can do that too, but do it as a transfer and transaction with people. At the Solutionary Center, we have a Bitcoin ATM machine. That's what we got. Okay? Download this wallet called Moon. Muun. It's a peer-to-peer. You see somebody that got something for sale, you might have to do a little bit of an extra step and say, hey, man, listen, you selling this for $20. Can I give it to you for 12 in Bitcoin? Can I transact with you directly so it's no paper trail? It's just you to me and me to you. And this Bitcoin starts to get a little bit more value over time. Start doing that. Start cutting out all of these middlemen. And I want to be very clear with y'all. The bank is the closest thing that you could get to dealing with the government and not dealing with the government. It's the bank. So when you go to buy a house, oh, we want to run through all your shit. Imagine this. Imagine if you just had an RV and you had some Bitcoin tucked away and you bought a bunch of land and you started to buy a whole house and you bought the land directly from the person and said, I'm going to give it to you in Bitcoin and you just going to sign it over to me and say you sold it to me for $100. Precious metal, develop skills, Bitcoin, transact in Bitcoin. Don't buy this belief that it's only a store of wealth. Bitcoin was created by Satoshi to get outside of that matrix, to get outside of it. Okay? So you should be able to transact with each other. Okay? Without the government involved. Bitcoin is a way to mine wealth. If you decide to be a miner, you could, if you want to. Store wealth, transact with wealth, or transfer wealth. All of that can be done without third parties, without the bank, without the federal government, without the Federal Reserve Bank, without all of that. So I want you guys to start looking into Bitcoin. I want you guys to download the Moon Wallet. Every single person that downloads the Moon Wallet and whatever platform you're watching, I want you to give me a screenshot of you downloading the Moon Wallet, and I got something for you. Okay? Yo Maj on X, at me. Yo Maj got the Moon Wallet. Yo Maj, Facebook, YouTube. Yo Maj got the Moon Wallet. Whatever. Email me. Okay. Save money, invest money, parse a little bit of that $5-10 a week into Bitcoin for a little bit. Let it bubble. You get a couple $100. Buy $10 or $15 or something, $30. Negotiate with the person and bring them into the Bitcoin world. Give them the same Moon Wallet, Muun. Let's start slowly and effectively getting ourselves off of the government's plantation. And I hate that term. So that's one thing. I want you guys also join our Solutionary 9 Telegram group. That's free. After this episode, same thing. Just comment somewhere, at me somewhere, DM me. Yo, Maj, I want access to that Solutionary 9 Telegram group. We got 9 daily activities that we do to improve. You get more discipline, you start working out, you start managing your weight, you start managing your schedule, you start having more of a spiritual experience. You're going to get better financially. And then you shift some of that money into Bitcoin. You shift some of that money into cash savings, liquid cash. Stay a certain level of liquid. Because relying on government for protection or financial security and the freedom in the future, The fucking Pentagon ain't never goddamn passed an audit. What? They went billions of dollars went missing in Ukraine. So we should not outsource our freedom or our future to the federal government. Anyway, guys, that's where we're gonna wrap up for tonight. Maj Toure here. You're watching the Maj Toure Show. I will see you guys on Monday, 8 p.m. Eastern. I'm going to make sure that you all hear from me this weekend. We're going to be doing crazy, crazy fundraising. We got 67 more donors at the $100 level to get we got 2 benchmarks left. There's $6,700. We had 1 benchmark and we got 1 left. GiveSendGo.com/solutionary. If you got some value from the show tonight, donate 10, 20, 40, 50 bucks, whatever it is. Every donor over $100 gets access to the Solutionary 9 membership for the rest of your life. Okay? And support, guys. Please share the space all over the place. And again, Moon Wallet, let me know, whatever platform. Solutionary 9 Telegram group, which is free. All right. Thank you all for tapping in. I'll see you guys on Monday. Be safe. Be solutionary.